How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good. Hey, thanks for joining us. We'll go ahead and jump right into questions, everybody. If you have a question for Coach, please utilize the raise your hand feature. Chris Lee, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Hey, Tim, good morning. Just your thoughts on how you guys played at South Carolina, what you like, what you didn't like.
Well, I think there's just three different games. First one obviously was good in all three departments. We pitched well, defended the ball well, threw some runners out behind the plate, and hit two big innings. Quality at bats within those two frames where we scored some runs. McIlvain was excellent. He was very aggressive. I loved his pace, and slow those bats down says quite a bit. The second game, we were just outmanned. I mean, I thought they just pitched really well. Certainly, their starter Sanders, he did a really good job of slowing us down, and then their relief was excellent too. And then the last game on Saturday was, we gave up the one big inning. We walked 8 and 9 in the order, and we paid for it. Wimmer was very destructive in his at-bats. He counted for 5 of the runs, and he also took away a run, basically, in that, I forget what inning it was, after Spencer hit the ball off the base of the fence. He took away an RBI with Keegan's ball that was hit back up the middle. But I thought they made 2 game-saving plays, in my opinion. Center fielder saved a couple of runs and certainly a bigger inning than what it was. And Wimmer making that play and his bat. So there was some good things. I thought Riley, bullpen work was good. Offensively, we didn't have much to say on Friday, and a little better. We had guys on base. We just couldn't get the big hit, and they did on Saturday. So we turn around and come back here and then regroup because we've got a big game tomorrow night.
Robbie?
Hey, Tim, how's it looking with Nick Maldonado, I guess, and how do you think the Sunday pitching situation is shaping up, especially depending on where he's at?
Well, he's getting better. What his time frame is, I'm not sure. He's going to have to start slow. I mean, it's not like a guy's going to jump in there with a tremendous amount of volume. I mean, that oblique injury is it's a touchy one, and you have to treat it with care. But I believe that he's tossing today. What that means off the mound, I'm not sure right now.
Arya?
Tim, was Christian Little available to pitch this weekend?
No.
Chris Lee?
Yeah, follow up on that with Little. Was that health or was that something else?
Something else.
Robbie?
Yeah, Tim. I mean, of course, Tennessee has had a really impressive start. What do you think of what Tony Vitello has done with them? Especially after losing a lot of productive pieces last year, and what stands out in terms of how they have been so successful as an offensive team?
Well, I don't really want to think about them a whole lot right yet. But as far as Tony and his team is concerned, they're really good. I mean, I think you'd be hard pressed to find another team that does everything as well as they have up to this point. They pitch extremely well. Those 2 young kids that bookend their rotation have jumped right in and have not acted and performed like younger guys. They've pitched as well as any freshman coming into the league up to this point. And offensively, they're just good. I mean, they're well-rounded. They compete as a team from an at-bat standpoint. They put a lot of team at-bats together. They're confident. They play good defense, and Tony certainly has put good pieces together, and he can coach. He's a good coach, and his pitching coach is outstanding. Josh Elander is a good coach. I mean, he's done a very nice job in that program.
Aria?
Tim, I noticed this weekend there was a couple different players who got some more run in the starting lineups, Troy Leneve and Calvin Hewitt. And then, what was your reasoning for putting those guys in the lineup and then, not having Casas at first base?
It's performance. It's performance every day, and just the ability to improve and give yourself an opportunity to get a chance to play. I think our guys there's a lot of, although they're different abilities, there's not a whole lot of difference when you get to certain kids, and I think that's a good thing. I say that positively from the standpoint of what they offer the team, but they've just got opportunity to play, and the other guys didn't. You can only play 9 guys unless you substitute, but that's no only reasoning behind that is just the opportunity to play because of what they've done leading up to competition.
Chris?
Yeah, Tim, with Javier Vaz, we've seen him, I think, get pulled late in games frequently. I don't think he started this weekend. It seemed like there was a health related thing maybe early in the year that's limiting his time. Can you just update us on his status and if there's maybe a health reason why he's not playing so much?
No, Javi's healthy. He's healthy right now, so he's fine that way.
Aria?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about just, Carter Holton, obviously, as a freshman, when he has a start like what he had on Friday, what did you say to him after that? And what is kind of your, going forward, what does he need to fix? Obviously facing a very good team next week.
Well, his execution was such where he was leaving the ball in the middle part of the plate, and that's an older lineup, particularly at the top. You've got a 24-year-old leadoff hitter that has played 6 years of college baseball, and you've got 4 23-year-olders in there. So they've bundled a lot of at-bats, and I think when a freshman is faced with that, the execution has to be better than what it was. But at the same time, I think anytime you have 2 innings like that off of a kid that throws that well with that type of breaking ball and they're on everything, I think it kind of makes you wonder a little bit. But we'll just go back to drawing board with him and get him right again. He'll be fine. He's a pretty resilient kid. And for his sake, I don't think there'll be any lingering effects as he goes forward. We just got to get him ready to go for the next weekend.
David?
Hey, Coach, with Hunter Owen struggling with his control on Saturday and walking those first 2 guys and then 2 right-handed hitters coming up, what was your thinking on that? Did you want to go to the bullpen, or how did you feel about that?
Not at that moment, no. He did a good job of getting out of that 1 inning when he came in with an inherited runner, so he didn't allow that one to score. As you mentioned, the walk to 8 and 9 bit us. He did a good job of coming back, and he went 3-0 on Belk and came all the way back and struck him out. But then, he gives up the hit to the number 2 hole guy, and then Wimmer made him pay. I mean, Wimmer was seeing the ball very well, both on Friday and Saturday. And no, we thought the matchup, because of Wimmer's numbers against lefties, we thought we had the right matchup in there. It was more about execution. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and obviously it didn't.
Chris?
Yeah, follow up, and then when you're done with that, a separate one. You said, and I don't know if I've got you quoted right, but you said when kids are on everything, you have to wonder. Was that some indication you think maybe Carter was tipping pitches?
I think that goes through your mind, Chris. I just think, when balls are, you don't see any hesitations in swings, and you see people on breaking balls, and even the foul balls are split, then Yeah, you wonder if there's a tip going on, and so that's something that we certainly are cued in on, because that, that wasn't the case with Riley, and Riley's stuff is good, but Carter Holton stuff is comparably is good too.
Yeah.
And if you looked at South Carolina's numbers, they weren't having that type of success against lefties. But hey, listen, I don't want to, the last thing I want to do is take away from the performance of a team that did their job, and they did their job. You can't hit balls like that off a tee that hard and that consistently. And I think South Carolina did a really good job of just measuring the pitch. You still got to hit it, right? Even if a certain pitch is coming, that's difficult stuff to do. So I certainly want to credit South Carolina. I don't want to take that approach. That's our problem. It's not theirs. They did their job. We did not do ours.
Yeah. One more follow up on that before I do ask the next one. When you have a situation like that, I presume it's tough to figure out when you're on the field and it's happening, and B, how long does it typically take you to figure out something like that as you guys are watching film and stuff during the week to figure out if that's an issue?
Yeah, I think you're always looking for that with your pitchers, but I think if you just feel like the outcomes are completely different than what's happened in the past, either with the player themselves or the hitter or the pitcher, then you start to look at other things outside of the execution. But you know what? The execution of the ball was in the middle of the plate too, and they took advantage of that.
On Riley, I know you kind of like him in that spot where you can use him in a bunch of different spots, but when you're as dominant as he's been at times, especially on Saturday, is there a thought of maybe moving him into a rotation spot for the weekend?
Yeah, there is, Chris. I mean, I think the thing that Pat's done well is he's come out of the bullpen and pitched very well. So, but he, like any other player, you get those opportunities and you do well in them, then you have to reconsider and potentially readjust where you want to position him to help your team. And that's certainly a thought going forward.
Arya?
Is Christian Little going to be available against Tennessee?
I just want to make sure that our players, including Christian, are available for Lipscomb first. So yeah, we'll contend with that today.
Any more questions for Coach? Oh, a couple hands. Chris.
Yeah, Tim, you said players there. Am I reading too much into that, or is there anybody else that maybe is sitting out a bit?
No.
Okay.
And I wouldn't read too much into it outside of, what we expect off of them off the field is just as important as what we expect on the field, and that's all the players. But yeah, I don't read into it too much. I mean, it's just expectations of players. That's it. Simple.
David.
Hey, Coach, how did Calvin Hewitt improve his stock and becoming maybe a starter for you?
Well, I think what Calvin does well is he puts it good at bats together. You seldom see him leave the zone. He can get to 2 strikes and he can handle himself. He puts the ball in play. He's got good hand-eye coordination, and he's athletic. I mean, he can move. He's a good mover, and he wants to run. So I think there's a lot of versatility in Cal. He just needs opportunities, and he's right-handed. Obviously, he's backwards. He throws left, hits right, but he's a good piece in left field and center field. I would say, defensively, he's behind. He's that type of player that can do a lot of different things on the field to change a game. Catching the ball, moving after the ball, it can cut down distances. So there's a lot of positives to his game.
Any more questions for Coach? Great. Coach, thanks so much for your time today.
Yep. Thanks, gang.
Tim.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Is anyone else going to be on this call?
All right, that's what I'm checking for you real quick. Give me just one
Okay.
second. Looks like the email Josh sent out says just coach today. Appreciate you guys being on. Have a good week, everybody.
Thanks.